Hello, Oracles! Well, today I had some training at work. I'm not going to divulge who it was that I had training with, but it is a legacy company that is switching from ice machines over to battery machines. And what we learned today has very significant implications upon what Legacy Auto is also doing. We are seeing the same thing happening with GM that is happening with this company that I had training with today. I'm going to go over some of the challenges that they are facing as they're making the transition, and it really explains why GM is making the decisions that they are making in their transition over to batteries. So we will get into that in just a minute. All right, so first things first, diving into the charts, we did close down just over 3% today, closing at $187.71. Just as we had discussed last week, we had that gap that was just above us. I had a feeling we were going to fill that gap at 198 and then fall. Sure enough, that is what has happened. So now we're starting to see this kind of slow downward trend. Again, as I had mentioned, the only news that we really have between now and Q1 earnings is going to be macro related. So nothing really exciting that's going to push the stock up, unless, of course, there's a surprise announcement of some sort. So with that said, we did close below this level at 191, which has been acting as a support for us. So we're now right below that. Below this, we are looking at a level of 180. And then below that, we are looking at a level around 167. We do have this gap down to 146. Below that's a gap down to 133, 122, and then 114, as we have said. Don't know which way we're going to go, how far we're going to fall. The RSI is at 4880. Again, things can go in any direction right now, but kind of anticipating what we talked about in these big swings that we may be seeing this year. What Adam and I went over last week, 3 more rate hikes. We might see this downward swing happening right now. And as the next 3 rate hikes come through over the next 3 to 4 months, the stock could end up falling down, maybe filling that gap down to 114. Don't know for sure. But as the Fed pauses, if history plays itself out again, we might see a rally from there also for maybe a year or so, or until the Fed decides to pivot and then may see that swing down again. Again, a lot can happen between now and then. Nothing is guaranteed, but historical data has shown us that something like this may end up playing out. We will just have to wait and see how it goes. Now, before we get into the legacy stuff, one question I wanted to ask you guys. I was having a conversation with Karav, and he said that his Model Y, which is basically the same as mine, has actually been moved up for a delivery date. Meanwhile, mine was moved out for delivery date. So if you guys can let us know in the comments below if you guys have a Model Y on order, what is your delivery date looking like? Mine was April 1st until May 15th. It is now May 1st until June 12th. Meanwhile, his original delivery date was April. Now it got moved up to March. So again, I thought maybe it was because he had a higher trim, but both of us have basically the same trim. So it's not like Tesla is prioritizing higher trim models for more margin. Again, don't know. His thought is maybe it's because the trains from Texas were going up to Chicago first. That's the area that he lives in. So perhaps that's just happened to be where they are going first, and he's going to get his delivery first. Meanwhile, I'm in Connecticut. Maybe they're just not over here yet. Again, I truly don't know, but if you guys can let us know in the comments where your delivery date is or if it has changed, that'd be great. All right, so going into Legacy Auto. So the training that we had today, they were discussing how they were going from gas engines over to batteries. Now, the big surprise was we had been told previously that they were anticipating that by 2024, we would see the battery sales overtaking gas. That actually happened in 2021, a lot sooner than they anticipated. So, what is their strategy for this? One of the questions we had was, well, we do service on a lot of their equipment. We are going to be losing that service because the battery equipment does not need the same service. Where are we going to be able to make up those sales and margins? So their answer to that was there's still going to be some service on the battery, of course, not nearly as much as it was before. So it's going to come down to the accessories. But some of the accessories you don't need to buy as well because there's less needed. We don't need to buy mixed fuel for those machines. So we don't have those sales either. So their strategy, which is now seeing exactly what GM is doing themselves, is they're coming out with a lot more models over the next 5 years. And the reason they're doing this is because then they will have more accessories that they can also sell for all of these different models. So, yes, it's going to be significantly more inefficient because of the fact that, well, they're selling more models. There's a lot of different variations, a lot of different work that's going to go into getting those sales, but they'll make up for it with all of the extra accessories that go along with all of those different models. Going over to where GM is looking, this now explains why GM is coming out with as many models as they have. They're coming out with them because they know they're going to be losing that service when it comes to the margins. So they need to make up for it somewhere. They're going to make up for it with other accessories and different add ons they could put into all of these different models that they have. It doesn't really make sense, truly, if you look at it, that is still using a legacy mentality of the more models we have, the more options we're going to have for people, and not looking at it from an efficiency standpoint. Do you really need four different versions of a sedan? No, you don't. You just come out with one. Most people are just looking to get from point A to point B. That's it. There's not a lot of people out there who are like, oh, I need this very specific thing. Yes, people like options, but if you didn't give them options, they would have to choose one. It's like, a kid growing up. Hey, eat your veggies or you're not going to have anything else to eat. If that's all you have to eat, you're going to eat what you have to. I'm a parent. I understand that that's not exactly how it plays out. I fully am aware of that. However, when it comes to, adults who need to buy a vehicle, if all they have is one option of a vehicle and they need to get to work, they're going to buy that vehicle. They don't need 12 different options. It's inefficient to be able to do this. This is why Tesla only has the very few models that they have. This is why their strategy is come out with the best selling vehicle in this specific category, dominate with that. That's all we need. Move on to the next category. That's what we're seeing. It's playing out. Clearly, that plays out in their margins. So, with the training that I'm having right now, it's very similar. Their margins are low. Usually, when it comes to power equipment, the margins are low and you try to make up for it in the accessories. Well, when these legacy auto companies are going to be doing the same thing and they're not going to make the margins on the vehicles and also can't make it from accessories because there just aren't any, they need to come up with some other strategies to make up those margins. Meanwhile, Tesla is actually making those margins on their vehicles. So then any accessories or software or FSD on top of it is just going to be that much more. And this is why when you go back down to a very fundamental level of how the company operates, this is why Tesla is going to beat out all of the competition when it comes to legacy auto. Some of the startups are kind of in the same position as Tesla, and they have that luxury of not having to switch over from an old legacy mindset to the new disruptive mindset. They don't have that same thing going on. So they actually have potential. But of course, they do run into the situation where we're going to some rough economic times and they're in debt significantly and don't have that cash flow coming in. They face a different set of challenges. Legacy Auto has a massive ton of debt. They're having to cannibalize their own business and lose significant margins on top of all of that to just try and get themselves converted over to EVs. So, you guys can let me know in the comments below if you have any experience with any of this stuff when it comes to legacy auto. I know I've talked to some of you guys who do work for legacy auto companies who could perhaps break out some of this. Let us know if this is truly playing out in these companies that you're working for, if you're willing to share that information. You do not need to tell us what company you work for or anything like that, but just to hear these things that are going on from the inside of these companies is good information to have. Just like getting the information from people in Tesla working on the factory lines, we know what the culture is like there. We know what the mindset is there. Tesla has a culture where they're literally asking people on a weekly basis, how can we improve? What areas are we inefficient at? Where can we be more efficient? Legacy Auto doesn't want that. Legacy Auto just wants to hear, yes, you guys are doing great. Keep on moving in the right direction. The decisions you're making are exactly the way we should be going. Legacy Auto does not want to hear about disruption. Legacy Auto used to disrupt. They were disruptors way back in the day, but they're not anymore. They've just been sitting on their laurels in their ivory towers, just observing everything that's going on, thinking nothing is ever going to change. Meanwhile, here comes Tesla disrupting the market and disrupting batteries across the globe. Another piece we found out from our training today is a lot of companies out there are actually competing with Tesla to get batteries. This isn't just auto companies. This is Everyone who is out there has to compete with Tesla to get batteries. Tesla is the one who has created this whole entire market. They have the first mover advantage and they're making their own. Tesla's leading the way and taking everything from everyone who is out there. But they have also become the ones who are converting the entire world over. And it's not just on an automotive level. Everyone is doing this. And again, like I said, we have already seen it in automotive where it's coming to, we're seeing EVs taking over, and that EV penetration is coming in a lot faster than a lot of people thought. And it's not just in the automotive market, it's happening across every single market out there. This is going to happen a lot faster than a lot of people think, and Legacy Auto is not going to be ready to make this transition. They think that they've got 3 or 4 years to be able to get up and running. They don't. By the time we get 3 to 4 years down the road, they're going to be so far behind, they're going to end up having to either merge with each other or they're going to end up going bankrupt. There's not going to be really any other options for most of them. And the other big thing that is going on as well when it comes to Legacy Auto and the company we dealt with today is they're doing a lot of things and trying to move into newer markets, but they're not creating their own stuff. They're just getting other people's stuff rebranded as their own. This is a strategy some companies are using to try and move themselves into other markets to continue growing their business. When you're looking at Legacy Auto and companies that have been around for a long time, that's what they need to do to get creative to expand their business because they can't grow from where they're at. So again, this is where it comes down to Tesla licensing out their FSD to other companies. Tesla may be coming up with this new generation platform and saying, hey, other companies, you can use our platforms. We will get this out to you as well. So we might end up seeing something like this happen in the future. Most likely it'll be more on a software level, but there are going to be other companies, legacy companies, that are going to be rebranding their own stuff with Tesla products. I have a feeling we are going to be seeing that. And of course, Elon already said that he is open to doing that as well. This is going to be huge changes, disruption. And don't forget, this could be happening in energy also. Lots of big things coming, and I don't think anybody is going to be able to catch Tesla. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know if maybe there's a company that's not even automotive that you guys work for that is also making this transition that you can speak to in the comments as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for your support. Have a great one.